Hello, friends. My wife and I, my sweet Nancy, we're on our 40th wedding anniversary trip. We're having a great time. But on Sunday, we went to a church here in Oxford, England, and um, I was just so moved. I had to do a devotion about it. Because in the worship time, they sang this song called Consider Him. It's a song that was recorded by Upper Room, and to be honest with you, I don't think I'd ever heard it before. But as we were sitting there was a line in this song that just really actually penetrated my heart and really ministered to me. And it's the line in the song that says, "My weariness is swallowed in the kindness of our covenant." And I just started thinking about how many times I have felt weary, and perhaps you're weary today. Sometimes that weariness is deep down inside of us, and it just kind of drains us. And I felt that. So when I heard that line, I just really wanted to talk about God's kindness. I want to talk about how being anchored to His covenant can just really swallow up that weariness and restore the strength. Let's look at that phrase, my weariness. Well, first of all, we know weariness is real. It's the exhaustion that comes from the long battles that we fight, from the prayers that maybe we haven't seen answered yet. It may come just when we're walking with God and the difficulties of some of the things that happen in our life. And the weariness is real, but the phrase says it's swallowed up. It doesn't mean it's treated or it's just covered up with a bandage. It actually means that the weariness that we carry is conquered. It's absorbed. It's completely removed through this covenant. That's the end of the phrase. The kindness of this covenant, and it's much more than a promise. The covenant is much more than a promise. It's a relationship that's sealed in love, the love of Jesus Christ, and it's God saying, "I have committed myself to you. My mercy, my faithfulness, my presence, they're yours even when you're tired." So I know why this lyric really hit me. I know it's not something that is just wishful thinking. It is a declaration. It's a declaration that my exhaustion does not win, my weariness does not overcome me, but God's covenant is what helps me. So I did a little bit of looking into the lyrics of this song because it ministered to me, and I found out that the lyrics come straight out of Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2 and 3. Let me read it to you. "Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith." In other words, we've got our eyes on Him, who for the joy that was set before Him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of God. Now we hear that scripture quite a bit, but listen to verse 3. "For consider Him who endured such hostility from sinners against Himself, lest you become weary and discouraged." Lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. It's like the writer of Hebrews is saying, look to Jesus. When your strength starts to fail, look to the one who finished the race before you did, and that's the encouragement that we have, that we can also finish the race. And He didn't finish the race just for Himself. He finished the race to establish this covenant with us, the covenant of His kindness, which meets our weakness and conquers it. I know that this scripture, and maybe the writer of Hebrews is reflecting this scripture, Lamentations 3, 22 and 23, it's always ministered to me, and it says, "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning." It's like every sunrise, God is whispering to us, "Hey, you may be tired, but I've got fresh blessings for you. Everything's going to be all right. My kindness is still holding you." And I'll be honest with you. I think all of us have been here. I have been many times in my life at a place of exhaustion, physically, spiritually, mentally. I've had moments when I felt like I have nothing left to give, and yet because of the call of God on my life, I stepped into a pulpit to preach, or I stepped into a room to lead, and every single time, it doesn't matter how tired I am, God has met me there and helped me. It's in those weary places that I realize that this phrase is not wishful thinking. It is something that I can live on. His strength has become real to me over and over again. I've watched him as he's lifted my head, as he's straightened my back, as he's given me resolve, as he's breathed life into these tired bones. And that's why my weariness is swallowed up in the kindness of his covenant. Is just put words to what I've lived and what I have proved. God is saying, you don't have to hold yourself together, because I'm going to hold you together in my kindness. I now see his strength always came, not because I pushed harder. This my pushing harder that led to the exhaustion. It's because I finally just learned to depend on him and just do what he called me to do, no matter how tired I was. And I'm so thankful that every time I reached the end of myself, I found the love of Jesus Christ. So maybe you're going through it right now. Maybe you're running on empty. Maybe you're weary. The Lord isn't calling you to perform or to push harder or to try harder. He's just calling on you to trust in him. And watch how his kindness comes through to swallow your weariness today. That's the beautiful truth. The covenant kindness means God's commitment doesn't waver when you're tired. Think of the Last Supper. Jesus holding the cup. He said, this cup is the new covenant in my blood. He's saying this relationship is sealed not by your efforts. The disciples didn't even know what was going on. He's saying, it's because I love you so much. I'm setting a covenant with you. That's the kind of kindness we're talking about. A kindness that just absorbs our fatigue, that forgives our failures and renews our faith. So when you're too weak to keep going, remember God's kindness covers your shortcomings. His covenant keeps you secure, and his spirit gives you strength to rise again. So how can we apply that to our life today? Let me just give you two quick things before I end. Number one, just follow what the scripture says. Fix your eyes on Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. He's able to see you through. Don't measure all of the things that you're doing and trying to figure out if you're successful. Just do what God has called you to do. Fight through that, those mental blocks that say I can't do it, and find how God's kindness will come and just cover you. And then the second thing is just rest in the covenant that he's given us. Remember, it isn't a covenant that you can break. It is a covenant that he's made with you. And as long as you walk with him, it doesn't matter if you have failures in your life. Get back up, because his covenant is still alive. And you are loved even when you are tired. Yes, your weariness may be real, but it's not final. The kindness of God is greater than your fatigue. The kindness of God is greater than your weariness. So just trust in God today. Hey, listen, if this has encouraged you, just take a moment to consider him. And remember, his kindness is big enough to swallow your weariness. God bless you.